Hey everyone, how's it going? So let's dive into, I say a fun video, but I'm enamored with the concept of how I can be more productive as an educator, specifically in education with ChatGPT. Now, this is just one tool. Hopefully you've seen other videos and tutorials I've created. If not, definitely go and watch them on the website on how it works, the structure, what ChatGPT is. But we're gonna go through a bit of a logic, and in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to create a case study generator. So ChatGPT will be your case study generator. That will basically, you'll be able to get to a point where all you'll have to do is put in a topic and a problem, and ChatGPT will create a case study for you. And then we'll define what that is, how it works, and I'll walk you through step by step. So we're obviously in ChatGPT here. I'm gonna bring over a script. Now, this is I did this already, and I'm going through as an example to show you how this can be done. And basically, here's a script I've created. And basically, there's just a series of questions and statements to ask ChatGPT to get us where we want to go. And you might be like, Matt, well, why do I even care about this? Well, you can create you can use ChatGPT for a level of productivity that has been unmatched. And what I mean by that is, if you understand how to communicate and prompt and draw the value of the data out of ChatGPT as an educator or anybody, you can do so much with it. So this is a series of questions that will get me to where I want to go with ChatGPT. And I'll put them in. ChatGPT will go through step by step, and we'll see how it responds. And then we'll get to a point where it actually creates an actual generator or a list of prompts for us, which is super exciting. So I'm going to put this over here, and I'm just going to copy my question number one, and I'm going to explain as I go. Okay, so the first question I say is, ChatGPT, what is a case study? The reason why I'm asking that is I want to focus ChatGPT on the concept of what a case study is. Now, just put that in and give Chat to give us some answers. So Chat's breaking down what a case study is. Now, we don't know, there are different kinds of case studies, structures of case studies, topics for case studies. So for this example, we're gonna keep it generic, but if you have an idea where you're like, I want to use ChatGPT for a case study, if you have examples of what you like, of what you want to produce, you can put that in, and it really helps focus ChatGPT even more. But for this example, we're just gonna go through and have Chat define it, explain it, and that refocuses it. So when we get to where we want, it's gonna give us a better answer that we can work with and then actually get case studies out of. So the first thing is, what's a case study? And it goes and defines what the case study is. Perfect. So I'm gonna go now and say, I'm gonna copy and paste this here. Are there any criteria that would be identified in all challenging case studies? Because I just don't want any kind of case study. I want to make sure that I create a case study that's challenging, one that challenges students' ways to think. So the first is defining the case study. Chat's done that for us now. And now it's saying, hey, here are some concepts, or here are criteria that would be in all challenging case studies. An important caveat here. What's a challenging case study? Well, Chat's going to give you some ideas, but and these are pretty good. So common things in challenging case studies. So the idea of complexity, novelty, ambiguity, ethical considerations, limited data, and importance. So at least we're getting some ideas. Let's go a little bit deeper. So the next question is a little more specific, because now I've defined what's a case study for Chat, meaning Chat's defined it. And I've gone through, well, what are challenging criteria in case studies? And now I have a more complex answer that's a little more specific, because my goal is to get ChatGPT to create case studies that are challenging, creative, critical thinking, unique, adaptable, ones that would challenge my students. Okay, now the students for me are at the college university level, but you can adapt this for any age level or any skill level. So the question is, how would you create a case study that students would be asked to answer, knowing that they had access to computers that could answer those case studies and falsely represent their critical thinking and problem-solving skills? How would you beat a program like ChatGPT? So I'm asking Chat, how would I beat itself? And hopefully we can get to a point of a meaningful answer. So now, based off what a case study is, which Chat is pulling from, plus its data, and what goes into challenging case studies, now Chat's saying, hey, well, if you want to beat something where students can use something like ChatGPT, here are some ways that you might be able to structure your case studies to make it more challenging. So use open-ended questions, okay? Provide real-world scenarios, yes. Use group work, require original work, and use a variety of assessment methods. Okay, so some of them are very generic, but open-ended questions is not bad. Real-world examples is not bad. The only problem with that is if that real-world example is something ChatGPT has access to, meaning it's a data set, it's not the full internet yet per se, at least at the time of this video. But basically, the idea though is if chat has access to it, students have access to it. So I'm always looking, how can students use and abuse this? But also for me as an educator, how can I use this to improve my time and to really be way more productive? Use group works. You could obviously do that. Require original work. Well, the concept, even if you require original work and students choose to take the short road, well, are they doing original work? Well, that's the idea, that you can say do that, but they still have to do it in theory. So anyways, we got some ideas and we've gone through there. Now I'm going to say create a marketing case study. I'm just choosing the word marketing. You could do anything you want, but I'm going to say now we've defined it. We've got some concepts. Now let's say define this for a marketing case study. Now your example or idea of a case study will probably have more background content connected to it, which makes sense. Basically, chat is now just creating a case study about marketing for us. So the case study's name is launching a new product in a crowded market. Okay, chat chose that. We didn't focus it, guide it, or do anything, but at least we've got a starting point. So the background, your company has developed a new product that you believe has the potential to disrupt the market. However, the market is already crowded with similar products. So this is obviously focused for a marketing type of case study. And here are questions connected to it. Now, if we really wanted to, we can say, hey, let's grow this, but I want chat to give me the answers to these questions. So in the perfect world, I would expand this to have much more data and foundation of understanding. But I was going to say, chat, give me the answers to these questions. Just not that I care about those specific answers, but I want chat to already have the thought of giving me the answers when it creates a case study. And that's the whole reason. When you're asking questions to ChatGPT, the idea that it's being trained on your conversation, and it sort of resets every single time you start a new conversation. So in our conversation, it's taking the context of what we're saying, it's focusing it. So now we can get to a point of building this. Now, hopefully you're still with me on this. You're not lost yet. This is something that I'm taking a bit of time to do. But once we build this prompt or this generator, basically we can just copy and paste it, put it in the chat, and then we are getting way further ahead. We're just sort of setting the case. We're setting the stage right now. So these are the answers to the case study, basically based off of this scenario of a new marketing product. Describe, obviously, the market. Describe the market in which the product will be competing, including blah, blah, blah. So, and chat has now given us the answers. Okay, so now this is where the magic happens. What we've done so far, we have defined what a case study is, and chat's given us what a definition is. We could have put our own definition in, but we use chat just for simplicity's sake. We asked if there are criteria in challenging case studies, and chat said, yes, there are. Here are some criteria. We said, well, how would you create case studies that really challenge students to critically think and problem solve and would be hard for something like ChatGPT to answer? Well, chat then gave us some structure. And then we said, great, let's just create a marketing case study. So now we sort of have the DNA, the starting point for a simple case study, which is right here. Now we have a fun question to ask. And this is where it gets a little more complex, but it's creatively thinking outside the box. So the question I have now is, I want to focus chat on creating a generator for me. So this is what we do. So I want you to act as a prompt generator for me, where I will give you a topic and a problem like this. Always give an example, marketing tactics. And the problem is the lack of idea generation and needs. I just chose that. Then you will then restate the topic and the problem and then develop a unique case study that is at the university student written level with facts, figures, notes, and statements, has appropriate tables, backstories, and problems. Then you will restate the prompt that is improved based off new information presented and suggested questions to improve the prompt. Each time you will include specific information that will prompt you to be the best case study creator that is both practical and creative and is focused on making the students think so critically that they will not be able to fake their understanding. So what we're doing is setting the stage for how chat is to think. So if I didn't do that, we would have a less valuable answer, or at least a case study generator. But at least we're saying, hey, we want you to be a case study generator. We want you to create amazing case studies. We want to only have to give you a topic and a problem. And we want it to be that whatever chat creates, it's going to give you a prompt, the structure for a case study, and then based off of what it just created, it's going to give you an improved prompt. And that is something, that prompt is what you can put into ChatGPT itself, and it will give you that an actual case study. Long-winded thought. Bear with me. It makes sense as we go through this. So I'm going to hit enter, and chat's going to create this for me. So now it says, sure, I can do that for you. So Chat's creating all of this for me, and we'll read through it briefly. Here we go. So what Chat first did is, here's a topic and a problem, and basically here is a prompt. You can actually copy this down, technically. It should be a prompt topic. There's restatement, your company is struggling, blah, blah, blah. So that is a potential prompt you can put in. Here is this case study itself, really simple structure. Here are questions connected to it, okay? And here's how you can improve it. And then here's how you can improve it even more so with critically thinking. And then here is, Chat has taken its responses, it's taken the structure, and now it's given you an improved prompt, meaning it took all of what it said. So here is a prompt you can put into ChatGPT. Sorry, here is the prompt you can put into ChatGPT. You can copy and paste this, and it will create a case study for you. And then Chat give us the answers based off everything we've set. And now it's given us an improved, revised prompt, which is right here. And that's not bad. So let's do a quick little test. I can actually take this prompt. I'm just gonna copy it, go to a new chat for a second here, copy and paste it in and see what it gives us. Yeah, so it creates a case study. Now it's choosing the topic. We have an introduction, client background, current marketing landscape, different challenges, potential tactics, examples of successful campaigns, open-ended questions, and then conclusion. This is interesting too. Chat sometimes ends or cancels out. So we see a conclusion and it's stopped. So if we want this to continue, a little hack we have to say is continue. Continue from where you left off. And your typing doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not a perfect typist, and in the moment, sometimes I make mistakes, but you see here, it's gonna continue from its original thought from where we left off. So it actually created a pretty in-depth case study as a starting point. We can expand every section, we can grow it, but at least it created it for us. Now, as an idea generator, I've got a starting point. But let's go back to our original case study. So if it did it correctly, if I go back here to my original thought, our original conversation, all I should have to do is put in a topic. So I'm gonna say business, which is so generic, and the topic would be new startup. And we'll see what Chat does. There you go. So what we have done is, by originally restating this, so at the very beginning, all of this conversation right here, which I'm gonna highlight and just show you, all of this conversation was done to focus ChatGPT to get to this specific prompt. Everything before was done to have ChatGPT understand what we want it to do by defining what a case study is, defining what's in a great case study, a challenging case study, and then once we get to this point, I put in the prompt, I want you to be a generator, and then Chat then says, I can do that, and it generates a prompt for us. And a prompt is basically a question or a statement. And here is that improved statement. And now this conversation with ChatGPT, I can just be in here and say, great, I want to create a case study. And all you have to do is put the topic and the problem. And Chat will create a case study structure for you, which is basically here is a prompt to get a case study for whatever you'd like. And obviously the case study, very small, which we can expand upon. The questions, improved descriptions, critical thinking, how do you improve that? And then here is the improved prompt. So let's just say we want to create, so now we have basically trained ChatGPT in this conversation. And hopefully you're still with me and not overwhelmed, but you're excited by saying, wait a second here, I can see the possibility. If I have a conversation with ChatGPT and I establish the information I want, and then tell it I want it to create something XYZ, I'll be able to produce that. Because now this is created. So let's actually go through and just, I'm going to say the topic is going to be fashion. And the problem is going to be, what would be the problem in fashion? Copyright. We'll see what happens. So the topic is fashion. So now what we've told Chat to do is it's going to state a prompt. Right? So this is a basic prompt. And then, so the prompt that is created by ChatGPT that you can take and put into ChatGPT to get a case study is that you are a fashion designer who has created a new line of clothing that you believe is very popular. However, you are concerned about protecting your intellectual property and preventing others from copying your designs. I think that's pretty logical. And then you got a case study. You can obviously expand upon that and structure, and then Chat takes all of this and creates another improved prompt, which is now you are a fashion designer who has created a new line of clothing and are concerned about protecting your intellectual property and preventing others from copying your designs. Develop a case study that explores the key types of intellectual property protection available for fashion designers or to fashion designers, and provide practical strategies for protecting your designs and building a successful fashion brand, and so on. But the absolute win for me as an educator or anybody is I have now created a prompt generator where I can just put in a topic and a problem, and chat will create an advanced prompt for me. I can then take this fashion prompt, this prompt for a case study for a fashion topic and a intellectual property problem, and I can just put that in, copy this prompt, and go back here to chat, and then just say paste, and it's going to create a case study, or at least an amazing starting point for a case study for me. So the case study in this example is protecting your fashion designs and building a successful brand. Introduction, it gives you structure, gives you some background information. It's creating this on the fly, right? This is not taken from someone else. It's creating it uniquely structured for me. So I now, as an educator, can say, hey, I need to create a case study or I want to convert my course to a case study based course where it's scenario based, where it's not regurgitation of information. It's truly critical thinking and applicable and practical. And now I've got a starting point. Great. And I've got background information it created for me, intellectual property protection, different ideas, and it created a ton of content. Now, obviously it stopped again. ChatGPT 3, I could use 4. We're in ChatGPT 3 right now, but I'm going to say continue from where you left off. And it should be able to finish its thought. Thought's the wrong word, maybe output. And here you go. So this is hopefully for you as an educator, not overwhelming, but exciting. I want you to approach this saying, okay, so if I look at ChatGPT as an idea creation content maker or a content creator for me, if I understand how to structure it, I can then create XYZ piece of content and I can modify and adapt it, and it is unique to my tailored needs. And now, like, think, for example, we have this case study, which it just created. ChatGPT created this whole structure of a case study. And you might be thinking, Matt, wait a second, that's not a case study, but we can modify it to fit our needs. So let's actually do that. Let's just pretend this whole case study is perfect. I can say, give me the answers for this case study, right? And then go in, it's going to give me the answers for let's see what it says on a language model, but hey, so here's some answers to help us go through it. Now remember, the case study asked open-ended questions, so it's giving you some insight of how it could be, students could respond. It's not an exact answer. Okay, then I'm going to say, create a four-level rubric for me. Now, it's going to choose what structures this rubric. I'm just going to say, create a 4-level rubric. And if I have an example, though, I can copy and paste that rubric in this conversation and say, hey, follow this structure, create a rubric for me. And it will create a rubric based off the content for this. So now it's going to create a rubric for me based off of the content that we have structured here. And it's writing it, creating it. And now remember, this is so important. It's a starting point, meaning before I would do so much research and planning and thinking through and problem solving to get my projects and my assignments to fit the structure. Now I've got this idea generator that I can basically take and have an amazingly advanced starting point where I can create better assignments quicker. And like the idea of new content, it should be no worry for anybody anymore. But anyways, I'm going to say, actually, this is great, but I want to see it as a table. So I want to take this, said, put this rubric in a table, just so I can visually see it. And it's creating a basic rubric for me. And obviously we can go through and adapt and change this, but at least it created it in a rubric. I can physically see it. Cool. Or in a table form. Excellent. Now let's just think the extra value added. Hopefully you've seen the value in thinking through how do we set things up for ChatGPT and how do we prompt it to get what we want. But also I can say, create for me 15. Now, obviously you can expand this and grow it. Multiple choice short answer questions for this content. And now it's creating, now granted, I mixed multiple choice and short answer questions, not the right context. My apologies. But it's creating multiple choice questions for us that are directly connected to the case study. So now these multiple choice, now you got to go through them and you got to make sure they're logical and everything. But now it's creating content for us based off of this whole structure that we have taken from ChatGPT. And as an educator, I'm just enamored by the efficiency of a starting point. Meaning I have an idea and now I can run with it, modify it, fit it to my course, fit it to my whatever class. And then once I have an end result, I can put it back into ChatGPT and say, hey, now change the details, change the structure, change the problem to this. And it will do that for me. And I'll be way further ahead. So hopefully that was long. I'm so sorry, but hopefully you see the value in it. And this was entertaining and interesting, but more importantly, enabling you as an educator to use this tool to your advantage and to help you be better at creating content to assess your students and to be better at your idea generation, because always think you can have a new case study applicable to your course every single term where there's no duplication because of the freedom of the ability to create content. So hopefully that was helpful and of interest to you and good structure. But regardless, thank you for watching. As an educator, be inspired by this. Hopefully, don't be fearful. There are lots of other things to be fearful of, but more importantly, hopefully encouraged and inspired of this, an amazing tool that we can use and go from there. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, guys. And until next video, keep it real. See ya.